Welcome back. We're here to check in with the Divine Feminine and discuss some deep things that are going to go on in your own personal life as well as within the joint connection. For those of you that don't know, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings 5D, a psychic medium, clairvoyant and intuitive astrologer. And yes, we use the astrology also sometimes within these reads to really help you with your ascension process and the timing and the reason why things happen. Now, if you do want to book a reading, either looking in at your joint connection or anything other, all our readings that are on offer, as well as our services, webinars, events are hosted there. And you also can see our membership that you can join, which is Sage Inner Circle Network with its landing page. Let's jump in to your reading and see what I'm seeing for you. And obviously this directly will apply to me. So as we move into this week, the one thing I feel that we need to be aware of is that by July the 23rd, we are moving into Juno retrograde. So it effectively, let's get the exact date. Oh, where am I? I usually have these ready. The exact date, because that something is happening on that date which I need to reference. It's okay, so we're already theoretically in it. However, we have a particular aspect that is happening. So we have Juno-Pluto conjunction. And that is happening between, and it has been already, between April 20th to July the 23rd. Now, Juno in a retrograde cycle, it's going to be between two zodiac signs, Aquarius and Capricorn. It does tend to impact the divine feminine, our attitudes, our feelings towards the joint connection. However, it can bring up subjects separately in the context of it. It can be to do with the Capricornian energies, traditional relationships, traditional connections, systems, all the foundations. Now we're looking at the frequency of the energy of the pre-2020s all the way through to the here and now. And so it's like we're in this middle world where we're trying to process this. Now this retrograde will go all the way through till around October, where it does station direct, and then we go into a Venus retrograde. So for you at an individual level, I'm noticing the crowning energy. We have the lighthouse, okay? Purpose. You could feel like your life is upside down. Things that don't resonate with you, and projection is the reflection. However, it does tend to be that we are reviewing the context of those direct areas when it does come to the connection. How it affected us in the past. Has it evolved from here? Yes, those blasts from the past can come back at this point in time, moving all the way through this year. I mean, you literally have a connection to the past this year like no tomorrow. So do not be surprised if you're at an airport or you're popping into an old town or somebody, you are going to bump into these individuals. Now, at the moment, if you do feel, hey, do I need to be realistic? Can I have my dreams? Why is everything upside down at the moment? You're going into this internal combustion. You're retrieving things out, and what looks upside down may very well not be. Again, the sacrifices you're making, you're going to need to bring harmony to your psyche, to your psychic energy. A bit like Dana, Scully and Mulder, you're going to need to be both, because as above, as below, you're going to find at times you're going to be ever so much 3D, and then other times you're going to be very intuitive, and you've got to ride those waves through these retrogrades. Now, in the past position, which I think is positive, it is in the past, but anything that was hidden, what comes up, betrayals, where we feel connected in groups, because it's in Aquarius, it's going to move into Capricorn. And so divine feminine has always kind of been that black sheep of the family, doing things differently, picking up on things in a sensory kind of experience. And you also are going to find some hidden truths within yourself. It's going to be almost light bulb moments. The light bulb moments are going to give you courage, and it could be that you are able to intuit the things that other people can't. You are going to sense the collective energy. You are going to sense people's energy around you. And things that were missing in the puzzle, they're going to start making more sense now. The unseen becomes seen. Now, I would say you could be like, I need to get back on purpose. I need to get back on my path. Why has my path taken so long to get me from point A to point B? Why do I not have the clarity? Why does it feel like I'm walking around in the dark at the moment? Because we're noticing the purple chakra. If you can trust your instincts, the one thing I can say from a Juno retrograde, I did directly in my twin flame path experience a breakup. However, it did heal me. And, at times you can feel like if you do go into a separation stage during this time, many times you can come back into the reconciliation, providing you've integrated and the transformation on both sides has happened. So any out of alignment frequencies can start cropping up. But if you are doing the internal work, which is naturally just going to happen to you, on the other side of it, the healing does come. Now, if you are working quietly behind the scenes on things that you feel need your utmost of attention, they're also asking you to not burn out. They're asking you in your love life, you more than likely will look at things that just don't look healthy. But we can't just focus in one area, because in the heart space, you have health, right? And we have Chiron, the lotus flower, and you're looking at things in life where the give and take and the health and circumstances weren't so healthy. And you are wanting to invest in things that make you thrive. So your hobbies, your aspirations, the things that make you feel good, you could be moving into a health kick. You could be moving into getting a bit of rest, being recharged, being ready to, have some of that pressure come off. And I think you could be picking up on the shadow of Saturn gearing up, ready to go retrograde. Now, some of that pressure can come off, but it's with all that impact that we have and that forward momentum, something's going to help you liberate yourself. So, yes, you're walking through the dark, but you have the added advantage. It's a little bit like if you were to look at superheroes. Your superhero archetype is your intuition away from the ego. It's your spiky senses. It's your hunch energy. It's also a logical mind, but it's being grounded in the approach to these circumstances. And I feel like there's a method to the madness with this, providing you utilize it correctly. Now, your communication. Let's look at the foundation. There's something that wants to be written. There's something that wants to be active. And it does feel like, again, I just really get you have this sixth sense that if something is for you, it's always going to be for you. Nothing can block that. And we have the Mercury energy here. I do feel what we do need to be wary of is that with that retrograde, and we're going to reference what retrograde, which I did mention it slightly, for Divine Masculine, is that Mercury, as of the 29th, which we're already in shadow, is going to move retrograde in the house of Cancer. Now, it does, by June the 30th, move into Leo. So we, our direction, we could be changing direction. We could be having clarity moments. We may be feeling that we are wanting to beautify ourselves and care for ourselves, but really casting a critical eye on certain circumstances in our life, but just slow down a little bit, okay? Because with this, Mercury will not go direct. And so, you might get a bee in your bonnet, you might get some pickles kind of coming at you. Although we'll have a new moon on July 14th, we won't have Mercury going station till July the 23rd. So we can at times have And the day after, we have a sextile to Venus, which is good. So if you can put the hard work in and, try not to pull your teeth out during the process, be it there's circumstances with family coming up, or you have a creative project you want to achieve, or you're assessing, do I go left, do I go right? It's going to be very social, very active, very overstimulating. And we notice the next two cards. Now, you have the yellow chakra in the reversal. I'm really strongly recommending you pace yourself. I'm really strongly recommending that you understand this is going to be a process. And so patience is going to be required here. I do feel as though you are psychically tuning into something also that is going on with your counterpart, and you can feel it in the ethers. There's a smell in the air. And, this tends to bode better with people of the past than it does new energies. If you were to meet somebody new here, this is one of those years with Venus retrograde is that you at a very individual, personal level are going through transformations. And we see the Phoenix rising here as your outcome card. Now, it's in the reversal. Don't criticize yourself if you feel everything's going backwards or that there's a delay. Or, hell, why haven't I got to where I need to go? Why have I been unable to rise above this situation and I keep feeling like I'm getting knocked down? Because the universe is saying you're doing the right thing. You're getting there. But it's a little bit like, we don't like people pressuring us, but we pressure us. It's such a contradiction. It's okay to take your time with this. It's okay to have your good and your bad days. But know that you're coming out of this cycle and know that your turn is coming. And there is a timing on this. Now, I want to go back into it to see how they're directly relating to you. And how this is showing up in your life. Okay, so what's this big issue? First, let's look at the surrounding energy. Okay. You're going to have some surprises. And I don't think all of them are bad. I'm going to be real with you. There could be a lightening energy. And again, lightening, I'm not sensing. Yes, but no, I think you're equipped to handle the ascension process. Do we want it to be yuck all the time? I would say I don't. You can tell me if you would like it yuck all the time. I personally don't. I mean, we do need to have some candy in life. There is a notion that at the moment, when we feed our soul, you get more, okay? Because you gift yourself and you maybe have been giving to a lot of individuals at the moment. There could be a lot coming up to do with family, your home. You could find that there's repairs going on, or you need to reevaluate something, or you need to move, or you're having renovations. However that is coming up for you, there could be something going on with your mother, or for you within your relationship with your kid or children. There are some surprises a minute for you this week moving forward. Now, things that were hidden from you, it could be to do with third-party situations. Yes, it could be to do with legacies and inheritances. However, I also feel you are firmly underestimating your abilities right now. Now, I do see you as coming out quite independent, especially from this top row here. You're like, do I, don't I? You never get, and the thing is, there were times, and there are still times in life where we go through this, and I'll give you an example. You may have moments, for those of you in separation, that say, you know what, I don't need this person, and it's not a need, it's I choose. When we are in the need energy, it generally means that there is a lack inside. When we, this path is so unique. My cat is going crazy. 9 lives, guys, honestly. You go through so many stages in this journey. Your past position, you're going to have revelations. Now, the thing is, did I, on my path, many moons ago, say to myself, I don't know this person. because I found I had stopped needing myself. I found I let myself down. And even my intuition, being a psychic medium, how dare it not tell me that something was off? And do you know why it didn't? Because more than likely, I was actually doing what my ascension process told me to do, which was to focus on my own crap. So then, was it, if I had watched, looked, would it have protected me? No, because that needed to happen to show me, I was on path. I needed to focus on my own crap. I wasn't there to be a babysitter, but I also had another experience, which was, what would I do if I bumped into this person? And the lie, I could say very definitely, I would walk past, or it would be a no, or blah, blah, blah. The list goes on as an example to you. In this context, be okay with coming back to it. What do I mean by that? It's okay for you to change your mind. And 9 times out of 10, until we get to that bridge, we actually don't know how we're going to respond to it. And sometimes we can be pleasantly surprised at how much in that Chiron energy we directly have transformed. Because while there were times in our life where people weren't there for us, or people did lie to us, that quiet resilience that builds up in you, and each of you can share your own path here to others to show, wow, how far have you actually come? You find this internal energy that also has revelation. And one thing I really firmly believe at the moment we are going through is identifying our friendship groups, is realizing that, through an ascension process where the lie and the truth meets each other, is that at times we do go into isolation, the Hermit card in Tarot. And why does that happen? For us to do the shadow work, sometimes as an egoic method to avoid conflict, because we have been let down by so many individuals. On the opposite side of it, it shows us that we're building no relationships. And that Rapunzel up in that tower saying, you know what, I've built my pyramid, I built my doomsday bunker, I'm up here, nobody can get me. That's not living, okay? And it's not to say that's no criticism to that as per se, but it's saying that's not all there is. There's also, planting a garden, smelling flowers, connecting with friendship groups. And so this energy, you're having some revelations about. And, this lack, where these lacks are, where these sacrifices are, they weren't all to one particular area. They weren't all to family. They went all to divine masculine. You as a divine feminine have sacrificed in many different areas. And, you're really looking at it at the moment and going, okay, how have I changed now? What do I want in my life? And what's lacking in it at the moment? Because where the lack is where you can actually pour your energy into and grow it. And this directly does bring harmonization into the joint connection. And I definitely say from your read at this point in time, really matching up with the divine masculines, is you guys are both on point here. You're both going through a spiritual individual process, moving towards each other. Be it you see that or not. Even their outcome card and your outcome card ultimately is doing exactly the same thing. It's like, hell, am I not there yet? Patience, it's moving into next month. Now, if you do want a private booking, you can go to the link below. We can look into your joint connection or any other subject, be it it's astrological, guidance connected to your career, wealth, whatever you want to look at, we have you covered. We also do have a range of blogs that you can actually read up on connected to the astrology, free PDF guides. If you do want to jump on and actually grab that, you can. All the links are below, as well as visiting our community membership to help you through these processes. We are developing some tools within the community to actually help you through this ascension process to do with our chakras, how we can do the guided meditation where it's going to be hitting you based on your zodiac sign and more. So if that's something you're interested in, you can jump through and visit our sign up page. Otherwise, I will see you next week.